Hello there. Welcome to 100x Engineering. My name's Carter. Okay, if you watched a couple episodes ago, you know I've been wanting to do something like that. Does it work?
Didn't even prep me to do something strange. I had my cube.
I'm sitting here jamming.
I was like, were we doing it?
I saw my tablet thing right here. Hopefully people can't like rewind that and see what I wrote on here. I think it's pretty sensitive actually. But don't rewind it and pause it there. But I think I might do that. Maybe one of these times we'll be playing guitar or doing a handstand or something. Anyways, welcome to 100x Engineering, everyone. Happy to have our 2.3. Looks like a few people are still coming online. 2.3 million followers watching us. Thank you, everyone. Drew, have you played any more chess since last time?
I have played chess because I play chess often. So
actually?
I do. So
well, if that's the case, then how come you lost last time?
I didn't lose. You won.
And I get wrecked by the easy bot on chess.com.
It's fun, though. Chess.com makes it fun.
No, I agree. Chess.com did not sponsor this message. Yeah, no, I was that definitely went to my head though. Like I don't think we've ever actually finished a game, with the exception of maybe like Chicken Horse in that first episode. But I'm not gonna lie, that just for the drama effect and for my ego of just like winning in like the last 2 minutes of the show.
You deserve it. You did beat somebody. I wouldn't say you beat me, but you might have beaten Charlie. You know,
hate the player. No, I don't think that's nice. Yep. No, that's funny. Yeah, it definitely went to my head, and I like tried playing more chess.com and instantly rage quit on that again when it's like Andy or whatever that dude's name was, just kicked my ass over and over.
Wow. Fortunately, we're playing a game where I don't think there aren't clear winners and losers in the game today.
There definitely are. And for those of you watching, we're going to be inviting everybody to be playing with us soon. But we're going to intro our guest first. Drew, do you want to intro the person that will be joining us?
Yes, a really cool guy joining us. His name is Tyler /Ty Walch, senior software engineer at Jupiter One. He has many open source contributions to not only open source code, but he has open source life contributions. Lots of cool things to talk about. Welcome, Tyler.
Let's bring Tyler on. Everybody give a round of applause for Tyler.
Whoa.
Whoa. Did you just get back?
Whoa.
I'm the only one without a cool intro now. We need to restart it.
Yeah, let's roll the 100x thing. No, I'm just kidding. Don't roll it.
No, don't please.
We're trying to shorten the link.
Tyler,
welcome.
Tyler, what's up?
How's it going?
You get mad props for having the coolest intro of everyone here. That's not a slight to everybody else we've had star on the show. You all are great, but none of you are as great as Tyler at introing yourselves. So,
okay.
So Drew kind of stole some of your intro thunder because I told Drew to intro you. Anything else you want to share about yourself? Any other interesting facts, or I guess say hi to everybody? A little about yourself from you.
Yeah, my name's Ty, and I've been making websites for a while now. I was thinking this morning about kind of where I started with some of this stuff, and I remembered that my first big success personally as like a side project was this website I used to have called pbmadness.com. I didn't even tell you guys about this, but like pbmadness.com, it was it's no longer up or anything like that, but it was I made it.
Well, I just checked.
I was like a sophomore. I was in high school, and so that would have been back in like 2005-ish. If you go into the Wayback Machine, you'll see that.
Old school web.
And then so I think I had like 3 different redesigns of that site. I think it was a big time for forums like PHPB forums. So my forum had, I think it had like over, I think I was really stoked because it had like over 300 members, like active members. And I was like so excited about that. But like I just didn't have like good foundations. Like I grew up and I had access to a computer, which I was really privileged to have that. But I didn't have a lot of people in my life that knew about computers. So like my hosting was free. So eventually, like, unfortunately, like I was robbed of my my site because the hosting provider just went under or something, and this other stuff.
That's a bummer. I'm trying to find it on Web Archive, but it's struggling a little bit. So if you see me sharing it on here, I promise I'm not just like perusing my calendar, but this is, it looks
go back
great.
Further.
I'm really, really impressed. Very cool.
Yeah. I did stupid stuff back then. Like, for instance, that image, somewhere embedded in that image is a link, because you could do that. And it was like not weird to do something like that. I don't know if you remember that.
It
Like,
wasn't
images would
considered
have
malware.
targets.
Yeah.
It was not a good thing, but I thought it was cool because I
That's-
wanted to
yeah,
use these fonts. I didn't even know. There's so much I didn't know back then. But I was also really happy because I got like this guy contacted me and he was like, "Hey, will you run ads on your site for me?" And I thought like that was the biggest thing. And so like so much, if you go to the about pages, I also thought like, oh, the more people I have who are listed as contributors, the bigger I'll seem, and I'll seem more like a legit place. So like I have like my cousin who like never helped out with the website, like listed as like doing web dev, and like a buddy of mine. I'm like, we'll be bigger this way. And it was like a big lesson in just basically like just the internet just allows you to posture in whatever way you want. And like people will be like, oh yeah, this guy's a big deal, like enough to try and give me ad money. So
That's amazing. I actually had no idea about that. PB Madness, and it was for Paintball Madness.
yeah, it was
not like
paintball,
peanut
like,
butter madness.
Peanut butter was what I figured, but
Peanut butter was
that
what I
makes more
figured
sense.
as well. Slash, still kind of hoping. Not gonna lie, I'm like,
I hope whoever has that domain now is turned it into Peanut Butter Madness.
nobody owns the
I
domain
doubt
right
it.
now. I think it's out for grabs. Maybe I'll purchase it later, assuming it's like $2. Tyler, I recently found out, ran a radio show in college. Is that correct? Which, if that is correct, I think, Drew, like, I think we should flip this around. Like, I think Tyler is the one that's got experience on this, not us. Like, so Tyler, you're in charge now.
Take it away, new host.
All right, let's see here. All right. DJ Elwood on the max. I did. I had a show. It was once a week. It was an hour long. It was called Sold Out. Yeah, I played music that was coming to Portland because that's where I did it. Music that was coming to Portland the next week, and then I would give out tickets to shows that week because we'd have access to tickets. There was a lot of perks to working at like a radio station. So that was kind of the theme, and that's what I did. And
that's incredible.
Yeah,
cool. Like, I feel like Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I have a problem with like every single time we bring somebody on, they're actually way more interesting than I thought they were. No offense.
You do tend to assume people don't have anything interesting in their past experiences.
None, but like,
and you're like, what? You did a thing?
Like,
wow.
I spent like 20 minutes talking to Julia about like what it's like to work on a cruise ship. It's like, oh shoot, maybe we should talk about some of this stuff. Like now we find out Tyler's like at a radio station. Like my grandpa his radio name was Daddy O Hesterman in like the 40s. And he ran a radio show. So it's in my blood. So I think I'm like, wow. There's some genetics in me that are like, Tyler, I respect you. Like, Grandpa? Or I don't know. There's nobody laughing. So that was a lot of
That's awesome.
I thought.
But yeah, that was really cool.
I decide how in depth I want to go on this. How did you get involved with that? Like, were you working for the radio station? Or was it like a hobby thing?
No, I mean like so the radio station was based out of the college, and we would just take over kind of like the airtime of one of the FM stations in the area between some span of hours. And so I just went down there and I'm like, I'd like to be on the show, or like, I'd like to have a show. And then I sent in like a kind of a, like a demo of what like one show would be. And so like I just kind of made a demo on my laptop, and then they're just like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then I got it. I mean, like it really was not that difficult to do. It was open to people who were open to those types of things. But like I ended up making so many cool friends there, and it was really cool. I was on after 10, so after 10, like they're the FCC is less restrictive in what you can play. So that was cool. So I didn't like swear, whatever swear words or whatever you want, like basically after 10. But prior to that, you got to be careful. So
that's wild.
It's pretty great.
I just see Carter's brain spinning on how he can get into a radio show and become a host. He's like, it's that easy? I can just walk in?
I just have to talk to them. That's crazy. Are you saying that you're downplaying Tyler's achievement by saying it's that easy? So
no, I don't think it's
I'm not going to call you out publicly on our stream. I'm sorry. There is one other thing. Drew actually reminded me. Drew, do you want to talk about the Reddit, the subreddit?
Yeah, this is crazy to me. But you also founded an absolutely massive subreddit and you just casually brought this up. I had no idea you were basically famous. r/cool guides. You want to talk about how that originated?
Yeah. Cool guides, not to be confused with cool guys like John Stamos.
Very
cool
cool
guides
guy.
is
Very cool.
very cool guy. The cool guides, I can't remember what year I started that. It was a while ago though. I want to say it was like
It says
7 years ago.
2014 on the page.
That was like
It's 8.
8 years ago.
Jeez.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, I've been on Reddit for a long time. And then I've tried to make up some other subreddits. The idea of Cool Guides is that it's a subreddit for pictures of guides, which could be anything. So it's really just like things, it's kind of loosely defined as, maybe if you're interested in the topic, you might print it out and post it somewhere because you might reference it because it either has some piece of knowledge in it that's nice, or maybe like something to help you kind of help motivate you in some way, whatever. And I used to save a bunch of those to my hard drive, and then I decided to just try and make a subreddit, and I just seeded it with all the ones I had on my machine, which was again like about 200 or so. And then I made it, I put it out there, and then I just kind of like any chance I had in a thread, I just kind of just link to it if a post looked like something that would go there. And then I think I got my biggest boost like for a year-end post where it was like, what are the best posts of 2014 or whatever it was. I was just like, oh, cool guys. And then I got a couple thousand people from that, and then it just started to cascade, and I just kept shilling it. And,
I can't get over Tyler. That's crazy. We're going to talk about Tyler's open source contributions here in a minute, because Tyler also has a fairly influential, pretty awesome open source repo that I want to dig into. That's super cool. 2.5 million viewers, or 2.5 million, 2.4 million viewers for 100x, 2.5 million members of a subreddit. You've outdone what we can do, which is quite impressive, if I may say so.
There's definitely a parallel between your open source work and the subreddit. Yeah. I just realized, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Definitely. Before we step into that, I wanted to intro our game for today. I started to intro it in the chat, and I hit Shift Enter, hoping to do a new line, and then it just sent it. So if you're curious why there's no link in that one, here it is. We're going to be playing Joust today. Joust came out, I don't know, it was quite a while ago. Fairly old game, but somebody out there on the internet made a MMO version of this. MMO version, but online multiplayer version. And it's pretty fun. Tyler actually suggested this. We were going to play multiplayer golf. The first message that pops up, though, when you play it is like, this game's kind of broken and it might crash on you. I was like, perfect. It's great for 100x engineering. We tested it out and it didn't exactly work. It did exactly what it said it would do. So it wasn't that fun. But if you want to check out multiplayer.golf, check it out. It's open source and completely made in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript with 0 external dependencies and has like server-side code. So it's actually pretty cool. Tyler suggested Joust, and I am here for it. So Joust, the controls are simple, but you run around. I'm actually trying to watch myself on the stream, and it has a lag of like a second, so I need to look at my screen here. But the goal in Joust is...
We should tell the viewers, by the way, to mute the character V on their keyboard to mute.
Please do. If you have dogs or kids, like definitely mute your sound.
The sounds are aggressive, to say the least.
It is very aggressive. But we would like everybody to join us if you can. If you end up joining us, please drop your username in the chat. Here, I'll go first. I am Other Weasel. I'll do a little. I don't know if emoji's working there, but somebody got me. It's a fairly straightforward game, fairly low stakes, but can fly around here with our little ostriches. Ostriches, vultures, I don't know.
Ostrich,
okay. Up for debate. Mine looks like a vulture.
I guess if you're a bad guy, it'd be
I guess like that guy. I don't know. Let's and you can press T to change your team. So if anybody wants to join us and join the blue team, we'll have a ostrich party on here.
Blue team, got it.
We'll teach lopsided goats not to mess with my ostrich ever again. Get your ass back here, dude. Lopsided raven. Oh, looks like somebody else. He knows I'm after him. This is going to be a really hard one for me to play and sing at the same time. I can play and speak at the same time. I'm not.
Please start singing for us, Carter.
It's already. Oh, I got him. Okay, I can rest now for a minute. Take that, lopsided raven. You're young ostrich.
That's me. Yeah, I just went by you backwards somehow.
Oh, good. Just moonwalking. Oh yeah, you can moonwalk. Check that out. I'm here for this. Okay, and then Ty, which one are you?
Oh, hey. Mad Yak. I can't post in the channel.
Oh shoot!
But Mad Yak is who I am.
Mad Yak.
Yeah, I had to go.
I have like a ostrich party on the bottom down
here.
Let's go blue team. Hermit Pinecone. We got Chum coming in. Chum, join the blue team.
You go up.
We'll have a party down here. Oh, Drew, they got you. So while we're down here, oh yeah, Kid Waffle. I don't know who Kid Waffle is, but you can watch 100 Mix Engineering. Oh, round over. Okay, I guess it's timed. Anyways, so we're not here just to play Joust. And, I like the blue representation we had down there. That was great. So talking about not 100X Engineering, talking about open source software, I told you I'd have a hard time talking about playing this. So all of us have worked with open source software, especially for like JavaScript is like very reliant, borderline like too reliant on like open source for people building their businesses and web apps off of it. There are good open source libraries and there are really shitty, really bad ones. What do you guys think are some of the differentiators between those? People, audience, if anybody wants to weigh in on that as well, feel free to drop that in the chat. But I think we've all worked with some that are good, some of the bad. What are some of the ones we like, some of the ones we don't like, and what differentiates between those? Tyler, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, the ones that are good are the ones that I use typically. No, the
ones you create.
Yeah, personally. No, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because I think one of some of the nature of the NPM ecosystem is there's so many dependencies that you just don't even know that you really have, so it's hard to really say that there's such a thing as bad open source in the terms of.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Like, there's some that are like more of a joy to use than others.
Yeah, I was going to talk to the usability piece. That's what first came to mind. I was like, if it's easy to use and it gets the job done, but to your point, what's under the hood of the subdependencies for that package,
I feel like I've Marie Kondo'd like Lodash in my life recently of like, okay, thank you for your service. Like, you no longer give me a spark of joy. Like, into the trash can you go. Into the archives of my Git history, you will remain. Well, I don't know if that's as much because Lodash is like a bad tool necessarily as like ES6 has caught up and made large portions of Lodash irrelevant, I guess, obsolete. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know.
Obsolete to you, but how many packages do you depend on still that depend on
Lodash?
Yeah.
Use Lodash, so I don't think we need to use Lodash. I do like that Lodash exports every single one of their functions as a separate package, so you don't have to install all of it.
What makes a good open source package? Their interface.
Yeah, I think MUI does that as well, right? Like Material UI has like a way for you to install just like bits and pieces, or you can install the whole enchilada. Oh, yeah. Lopsided Raven is my official nemesis in this. Oh yeah, whoever go blue.
Yeah, we're losing the game, blue team.
Are we?
That. Yeah.
Who's on red team?
We're losing to red team.
I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you're on blue team, you can actually check this out. Tap T. I can switch to red team. Now I'm incognito. I'm going to chase lopsided ghost here. Then I'm going to switch to blue team right when I'm about to get him. Aha! No, that didn't work. No, it didn't work. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting way too into this. Tyler, why'd you pick such an engaging game? I'm going to chill. Okay. Just Mother Weasel can hang out for a second and move walk backwards. Anyways, so other things I think that make a open source library good, I think so the docs, I don't know. I feel like docs, there's like the use case, does it solve something useful? And then the support, do they just kind of make something and leave you hanging out to dry, or do they give you ways to be set up for success? One library that I love that does a great job of this is Stripe. I feel like Stripe is a ridiculously complex concept. Money, payments and things like that are really, it's a lot that goes into it. And I feel like Stripe's docs have never left me wondering what I need to do or how I need to work with it. They have like a sandbox. They have like they have all the examples. And then the docs are really in depth. They have tutorials where it's set up your payments platform that nobody's going to use, in 30 seconds, and we'll show you how. So that's that. I think MUI is another one you could argue either way. Like MUI is either great or terrible. Material UI, for those of you that are not familiar with what MUI is. Any other things I'm missing on there though that would like make a good open source experience?
I think
as a consumer.
Yeah, I think I was mainly joking with my original answer, but I think a big one is how often they are changing their interfaces. How often do you have to kind of refactor your code to work with the code of that package? That ends up.
Major changes are very annoying.
Yeah.
Even
amongst,
I guess.
Even.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Or even just not abiding by certain semantic versioning, things like that.
Right.
There's a lot of things to be said.
Minor versions.
Yeah. The round ended, so I could focus for a second, and then completely got distracted. And then also, I guess, similar vein, if the amount of support the library gets is kind of a big deal. So if it's just kind of left there hanging and not receiving updates as it should, that's also not good.
I'm going to call out Chum here because Chum is speaking my truth here. Can't play and stay in conversation at the same time. Chum, you're speaking for me. I completely agree. So I'm just going to kind of throw my other weasel here to moonwalk indefinitely until somebody stops him. I'm going to hide that. And so yeah, I might take a break from Joust here in a second and rejoin it. Have you guys ever contributed to open source? So it's just shifting from kind of like the consumer side of things. Have you guys ever contributed to it? I remember that was something I felt very like hesitant about getting into. Like I've made some minor contributions on a few things I could talk about, but like, what's your guys' experience been on that?
Yeah, I have personally, outside of the things that I publish myself, there hasn't been too many packages that I've kind of introduced myself to and tried to contribute something. I did try and contribute once back to React Native, but then kind of caught up in the contributor, minutia that I needed to go through, and I was just like, I'm just gonna not do that because it wasn't that big a change anyway.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Drew, have you made any contributions? Remind me.
I was thinking, I don't think I have, outside of the stereotypical documentation change for one of those competitions, or like, I don't know what you would call it.
Get the sticker on GitHub next year.
Yeah, where they'll send you a sticker or a t-shirt, and I'll be like, okay, I'll go in and fix this spelling mistake here. But outside of that, I have gotten to the point, which Ty was talking about, where like you get to where you want to make a change, and then it's just a little bit too much hassle, and you back out of your PR, and you're like, no, this isn't worth the time. So not really.
Yeah, I've made a change like that to MUI. I made like a docs change and fixed like a minor bug. And I was like, yeah, I did open source. And I realized I have become a part of the meme that you just threw up there. This is a good one.
Relatable.
Yeah. Although I will say I've hot take. I don't actually give a shit about software or anything. No, I do. I'm just kidding. But like a lot of people say like contribute to things that you feel passionately about. And it's like, okay, I feel like passionately about like what I do during my day job for work. Most of that's not open source though. I play, for those of you that ever played Command and Conquer, they have an open source kind of revival for the Command and Conquer client. So I play Red Alert 2 Yuri's Revenge from 1998, I think. But my brothers and I play that like 3-4 times a week still. So I've actually been a contributor on that for a couple of years now of helping build the client. And that's been really fun to contribute to. It's in C#. It's been super difficult because the code base is just ginormous and not how I would set it up. It's maintained by people, all across the world. There's like this whole community on Discord I'm a part of where like I chat with the engineers there on like, how do we add like ping trackers and things that'll automatically like boot people that have like really low ping, really high pings. That's a good time. I haven't contributed to as much lately as I would have liked to because, lots of stuff going on in our day jobs. But that's been my biggest like open source experience. I think I wish I had like more things I cared about that were open source that I could like. If anybody has suggestions, please tell me. Because yeah, that's been one that I've like really enjoyed. It's brought back the joy of programming, of not just a job, but like something you do to make cool stuff.
Carter, what did you do on that project?
So in the lobby, there is so when you join, one of like the worst things is like you wait like, so it's a tiny community. There's like 300 people on at the most at any time, like all around the world, and you know none of them speak English, and so you're just like communicating with like emojis and stuff, and it's great and really toxic, and there's no filter on the chat. So I implemented a thing where nothing's worse than waiting like 20 minutes to get a game together, and then you get it and somebody's just like making it chug. So I made a tracker that next to everybody's player name, it'll tell you what their ping is. So it has like 3 bars, and it tells you like red, yellow, green. This is somebody you want to play with. This is somebody you might want to stay away from unless you're in their quadrant of the world, wherever that may be. That was my most notable contribution. Then there were a few things. I had like favorites lists to like maps and searching and stuff like that. So I also made a couple of custom maps, which is cool, but that's less on the programming side. So
pretty significant.
CNCNet, go and check it out. It's pretty cool. CNCNet did not pay us to say this. I don't think CNCNet actually makes any money, miraculously enough, which I think we actually have a meme that you found, Drew, for that one. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hey, there it is. They're not going to donate to open source, which I feel like is very true. We have this whole, we build our businesses off of this, and we expect these open source maintainers to, move heaven and earth for us. I think here's another one Drew found us. And, not going to.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting dynamic, I think. Ty, do you want to talk a little bit about ElectroDB? I'll let you kind of intro that, but ElectroDB, I'll intro it first, actually. ElectroDB is an open source project that Tyler made that works with Dynamodb, solves some interesting problems. I'll let him describe a little bit more. But it first kind of came on my radar. He came here and actually like presented on it at Jupiter One, and it was really interesting. It was super cool though when we were in Vegas for reInvent back in November, and several people like approached Tyler and were like, "Oh, you're the ElectroDB guy. Like, he could probably relate. You can relate better what happened there." I'll let you kind of speak to that. But like, Tyler has some fame in the open source community for this. I'll be quiet and let you describe what it is though, because I think you can do a better job than I can.
Yeah. So DynamoDB, if you're not familiar, is a NoSQL store that has some unique aspects about it, namely just how you design indexes and how you work with DynamoDB is a little bit unique in that the parameters that you pass for queries, require, to really get the most out of them, require a lot of structure that you add yourself. And there's this concept in the DynamoDB space called single table design, and that's where you put all of your entities, which would normally be, if you're using SQL, different tables, into one DynamoDB table. So the term table is not really synonymous with what a table is in relational database side. Because there is really no schema requirements for the most part of attributes inside of DynamoDB, that's on you to enact. And what you end up doing is you kind of overload your keys and kind of leverage your access patterns and how you kind of form those keys to then store multiple different types of entities inside of a single repository. And what ElectroDB does is simplifies that greatly, and adds a lot of things that you might expect in some ORM, like some constraints that you can add, some getters and setters, some validation put into a model, and then you can just kind of query it how you'd like to query it. It is kind of still, it's with the grain with DynamoDB. I mean, with DynamoDB, there's a lot of ways to shoot yourself in the foot in how you design your keys or how you get data out. It can be, if you misuse DynamoDB, you can end up paying a lot of money to misuse it.
Right.
And so the birth of it was kind of in working with it at a prior job of mine, seeing the heartache that a lot of people have that they're not really on board with how to use DynamoDB, and just the code it takes to kind of create something even remotely dynamic with DynamoDB. And it actually, I sat down. I was just doing a different personal project for this React Native app I was working on just for myself, and I kind of got distracted doing that to then make like an easier way to kind of like work with DynamoDB. So I had this back end, and I was just trying to write this stuff, and I was really procrastinating this app. So I just spent some time on this on ElectroDB, and then eventually that turned into the actual project. So that's kind of like an intro. It helps you do single table design in DynamoDB.
Single table design's anything but straightforward. I feel like DynamoDB itself is anything but straightforward. It's really powerful, but it's one of those ones that I feel like has a fairly large barrier to entry to like actually do it effectively. Like you run into things really quickly. It's like, oh, I can't. This would work in like a relational database, but like Dynamo doesn't necessarily. It doesn't work like Postgres or MySQL. It's very different. It doesn't work like MongoDB even. It's just its own kind of beast.
It's its own thing, though. It's nice though that the nice parts about DynamoDB are that it's consistent in, your data can be of any size. This data in a table, you could have millions of records in that table or 10 records in that table, and your performance in interacting with the API is always going to be consistent, which is really cool.
Sorry, I have to cut you off and just shout out the fact that I got second place that last round pretty much by moonwalking and spamming my keyboard while listening. Just like not even paying attention. Other Weasel got 7 ostrich kills or 7 ostrich D mounts. Sorry. Back on track. My apologies for interrupting. It's important.
No, this game is great.
It's incredibly difficult to play while doing a stream though.
Agreed.
Yeah, which makes it fun. It's good. Lopsided Ghost, the bastard is back. I'm sorry, I need to. So, how many stars did ElectroDB? Let me check this really quick. I'm actually going to post a link to this in the chat. ElectroDB has 301 stars, which I think my most starred GitHub repo I've made has like 2. One from me and like 1 from my mom, I'm pretty sure.
She has a GitHub account. Your mom's cool.
Yeah, incredibly supportive. Doesn't know what it is, but signed up because I said, "Mom, I need more stars on here. I'll feel better about myself." But did you publicize ElectroDB at all? Like, I've got a few libraries out there. I'm like, I wonder if I like marketed this or told people about it, like they would find it. But I think my sneaking suspicion is like the problem those things actually solve just isn't that useful. So people don't have a huge use case for it as opposed to ElectroDB. But what's kind of been your strategy, or like, how did you end up getting 300 stars or a bunch of people using this on there?
Yeah, I really just anytime I see an opportunity, someone's talking about DynamoDB and it seems like they're using Node, I mention it. Like on social media, on Reddit, on Twitter, on anything, I just throw it in there. Because I think the way that ElectroDB kind of solves the problem, I think it like legitimately is the easiest way to deal with DynamoDB. And it may or may not resonate with them, and I'll post it anyway. So I don't even really post much on Twitter. The only thing I post on Twitter is the offhanded like, "Hey, check out ElectroDB." So yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. And eventually, someone, so some people have found it. It's been kind of increasing in usage, which I can see kind of from the different stats I have access to see, and so that's been pretty cool. And I think once people really kind of start to get to see it, and once people really get into DynamoDB and then realize the struggles that they have, they then realize the benefit of something like this for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Drew, I've been asking a lot of questions about this, but I want to make sure I give you a chance to ask one before
yeah, it's
I
fine.
tell
I'm super curious too, because it's very well made. I mean, the docs for this thing are impressive to say the least. Examples, you've got a playground, very sick logo. Would ask, is that of your own work? the logo? Did you outsource that?
Yeah.
Logo on here.
No, I did that. I try and make logos.
Oh, that's
I
sick.
feel like the logos add like a nice touch to that.
It is a nice touch.
Repping the blue team for Joust right there, I see. Pretty sure it's the same blue, or it's very similar.
So has all of that, I mean, been a culmination of just over the time it's been developed, or I mean, did you ship V1 with docs that glorious? How has that iterative process been, or how has it grown?
Well, I was using ElectroDB at my on my prior projects, and so it was really important to me that if I was going to be incorporating that into my day-to-day work, that I flesh out the docs from the start and as I go. So that's kind of how they were fleshed out kind of as I went, as opposed to kind of like retroactively going back and adding a whole bunch.
That's
so
very responsible. That shows how good of a developer you actually are.
Yeah.
Well, until everything got typed, it was kind of a necessity for sure. So there's aggressive, because it's mainly because it's touching your data layer. So there's tons of validation in there, user input validation, not just for the models, but just in the fact that you use it correctly. And now it's incredibly strongly typed, and so hopefully that should mitigate most people. The IntelliSense makes it easier, but if people misuse it, then there's real consequences, and I'm not looking for anybody to screw up or not know how to use it. So that's always been really important to me.
That's really cool.
Did you launch your so actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but actually one other thing I wanted to draw, I think this might have been the parallel you were looking to draw, Drew, but I think it sounds like the way you got your followers on, or the members on the Reddit subreddit group and your ElectroDB repo is fairly similar, just talk about it and put it out there and just make noise about it. Is that fair to say? Is there a similarity there, or am I stretching it?
No, I think there's a total similarity there. I mean, I think honestly, I don't feel like I'm successful online with a lot of these things, because it's already, a lot of these things are really difficult to measure. I mean, you could look at something like the Cool Guides and it has 2.5 or 300 stars on the other part, but at the end of the day, it doesn't always feel like there's it doesn't roll in as a big dopamine stream. So I just try and mention as much as possible without shame, because for most of these people, they never see it. They've never heard of it before. So, and it does seem to kind of yield numbers results. So you just got to be your own advocate, I suppose.
Yeah. The parallel I was actually trying to draw was just between how r/cool guides gives you cool guides that are very, interesting and easy to follow. And then your documentation on ElectroDB is very interesting and cool to follow, and in itself is a cool guide to ElectroDB. So, maybe my parallel wasn't
that
as
one might be
interesting.
more of a stretch than Carlos. Yeah.
I like that.
So.
As the referee, the unofficial referee here, I'm going to say that's fair play.
Allowed.
Also, I'm pretty sure I just have to bow to Drew now, because Drew beat me in a duel here while talking, I think, at the same time. So Drew
I had to avenge my chess loss.
So I'm pretty sure that means you get my job now. I now work for you.
That's how it works. Yeah.
I think that's how it works. We had somebody at Jupiter One who, for a long time, my Smash Bros ego is off the charts. And Smash Bros is inherently a big part of our culture, at least on the engineering team. And somebody joined, and I said if they could beat me, they could have my job, and they did, and they were the only person that could beat me. But they got a job and went to work for Google now, so I get to keep my job again. Really happy for them, though. They've enjoyed it. I kept up with them. That is off topic, though. So we're coming up on time. I think we got about 5-6 minutes left. This has been interesting, though. I think, so we're actually trying something similar on I guess there's two different veins I kind of want to go down. So the concept of kind of just talking about things and bringing it up to spread awareness is I don't know, how many followers do you have on Twitter, Tyler? Is it 2 million, 2.5 million?
Get out of here.
Sorry.
I've got a celebrity.
I have two. One is me, and one's my Smurf account, and one's my mom. But That's interesting because I think that's like, it's such a simple concept, but it works. So when I come from a consulting background and did a lot of like freelance work on the side, and that was how people would always ask me, Carter, how do you find clients? How do you find work? And it's just, I would just bring it up all the time. Like naturally I'd try and be like, oh, hey Carter, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm a software engineer at this company. And on nights and weekends, I make websites and apps for people. And they're like, oh, my nephew has a really terrible app idea that he's willing to pay you to make. And so, make it. It sounds like that's actually kind of similar to what's like happened here with some of these things where that's been worked. And I feel, if I understand what you're saying correctly, you reach a certain point where like people start spreading it for you, and then it's kind of compounds from there, as is evident with r/cool guides, which is pretty cool. Is that grounded, or is that based?
I don't know what that means, but
I don't know. Yes. It's the thing I've heard somebody say. I was hoping you know. Does that line up with kind of what you think?
Yeah. Like, I usually end up talking about things I'm interested in, and I'm trying to always work on things I'm interested in. I'm always trying to like keep myself entertained. So I think, I find that people don't oftentimes, like, maybe they're nervous about people seeing their bad code, or just they're embarrassed about something they made, or or any real reason, or they feel like it's showboaty to talk about things. I don't know, but like I'll just bring up whatever I'm interested in. If I'm working on something fun, I try and bring it up, because who knows who's interested in it, and then now I have an interesting conversation too. So I don't know.
I like that
advice.
Yeah,
I think that has a lot of like a lot of parallels outside of just like open source software. Let's see how I do on this one. I got second place on this one again, but freaking Uber Monster got 19. I'm gonna wreck Uber Monster on the next one. But Lopsided Ghost only got 3, and that's pretty much my win I'm looking for. I just want Lopsided Ghost. If you're watching this, I'm not gonna make any threats publicly on a live stream actually, so we'll steer clear of that. Let's see. So kind of wrapping up here, and I guess this kind of ties into, if you have any other advice, like, so if I'm an engineer who's looking to get involved with open source, both either as like a contributor or as like a creator or / maintainer, what advice would you have for me? I know there's a lot of like people in like kind of like the junior to mid-level range who are, got switched careers maybe, or they're recently graduated. They've heard about open source, but they're not sure where to start with it. Do you have any wisdom you'd want to share with them?
Yeah, I don't think I have advice, but I guess I'd give some wisdom in the sense that I would say just do it for yourself. Like, don't do it for any other reason other than yourself, because there's no guarantee of any sort of feedback reward from anything that you do online. That you contribute to online, because the internet's just so big. There's such a capacity for more and more things that sure, if you don't go into it with the expectation of like, oh man, I'm going to make it, people will use it, then people will know me, then people will blah, 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 blah. And, I'll become some big influencer, I suppose. But like the idea being that, just work on the things that interest you. And that way at the end, you still have what you made for yourself. I think I say that because I think it's really easy to be brought down emotionally when you don't get the feedback, because it's so easy. You get like a couple likes or something, from people you don't know, and they're like, oh, I've always wanted something like this, or like, this is great, and I've had those, and then, that feels really cool, because you're like, oh my God, like someone has looked at something that is a representation of how I think about something, which is kind of what code is, right? It's like a view into how we abstract that thought. And it's so validating to have someone say like, this is this is so great, this is perfect, because it's like a reflection directly of like your mental model. And then, like a week later, you're like back to like, nobody's saying that stuff about you at all. So like,
right.
That it's just, it's easy at the beginning if you kind of get some steam with something, to like get hyped on it. But then, at the end of the day, what keeps you going is like, are you still interested in this? No. Why don't you do something else then? Or why don't you do what you're really stoked on?
I like that. I think that parallels really nicely with like kind of what you're saying also, of like just like talk about stuff you're interested in, and like it'll just naturally kind of come through. I feel like if you genuinely care about the project you're working on, like you'll be a part of those conversations, like people will sense that. I think I cut you off. What did you say?
Oh, I just killed you like on camera. It was great.
Oh, dang it. Okay, wrapping up here. Oh gosh, that was for all the marbles right there. Which one were you, Mad Yak?
Yeah.
This is for the position.
Tyler's cheese beating.
This is for the job. Who's your boss?
You are.
Okay, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. I had to take my last minute win like I did with Chess in this one, even though I got wrecked there sometime. Tyler, it's been great having you with us. Thanks for talking with us about open source. If any of you want to reach out to Tyler, what's your Twitter handle? Actually, I'm going to drop that in here. Are you comfortable saying that?
Tinker Tamper, yeah.
Tinker Tamper. I'm going to take a shot at that, but it's also on the YouTube description. Did I spell it right?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not Ty Walch now. It's all good.
I think it's Tinker Tamper. But yeah, feel free to reach out to Ty Walch if you want to know more about ElectroDB or open source software in general. He's a super cool guy. In case you can't get that, he's also really good at Joust. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Ty. We really appreciate you.
Yeah,
do you want to do like an exit, like in space?
Float away.
Whoa. Oh man. Okay, that was actually pretty badass. Thanks, Ty.
Amazing.
That was
Best intro. Best intro and outro.
Yeah, I was expecting to kind of go out the side, but yeah, I think the fade away was much more dramatic. So I'm a huge fan of that. Legendary. Okay, we turned off Joust. I was gonna say I need to turn this off on my.
It was exhausting.
It is exhausting. I cannot focus while this thing is going, and it won't let me exit it either. So I'm trapped in Joust. So if my boss is watching this and I'm not responding, it's because I don't know, I'm stuck in there. I tried doing the Vim exit and it doesn't work there either. So, Drew, when's our next episode?
That's a good question. I don't know when our next episode is.
I guess I'm supposed to be able to answer that, aren't I? Let's see.
Yeah, I think I should be able to answer as well.
May
10th.
10th. May 10th.
I beat you to it. May 10th is our next episode.
Yeah, May 10th. So stay tuned for details regarding that and what we're going to be talking about. I've got a few other games up my sleeve that I think we're going to try out here. I think I need to just like train myself to talk and play games at the same time. It's like playing guitar and singing at the same time. I can't do it, but I think if I tried it enough, I could. People can do it though. It's possible. Trying to think if there's anything else, but I don't think there's any other announcements. I feel like we need a special way to sign off. I mean, we could go with like the awkward, all right, like let's roll the credits now and wait just awkwardly long enough for Ashley to hit it.
I was hoping she would hit it right there and cut you off.
It just cut me off as I'm talking. And as we started, it was thank you for joining us on 100x Engineering today. Don't forget to hit the smash. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Hit the bell right here. Is it mirrored? Is the bell right there? I think
we have no idea where the bell is. Notifications.
Hit the thing up here for Twitch or whatever's over here for LinkedIn, and we will catch you next week. Let's roll those credits right now. Oh, we're back to back. Okay, we're back.